back to Teensy Vintage. This is Teresa, and today we're making a piece on some cardboard. I don't remember where I got the cardboard. I think it was in some packaging. Anywho, it was like, oh my god, this is a lovely piece of cardboard. Let's make some art. So I am using pages from a really old field guide that I got from a library used book sale for like 25 cents or something. And it's got those really, really thin pages. And I was like, let's experiment and see if we can do some texture building with these really thin pages. So I'm using some Liquitex matte medium gel, and it is providing a very nice thin layer of adhesive, and I'm going over the top of the pages as well, just to make sure that everything is adhered fully and completely. And I'm using one of those little foam brushes to put a very thin layer. You don't need a whole lot of medium here, just a little bit to get it to stick. I'm using a plastic scraper to just kind of smooth everything out. FYI, you are going to get some wrinkles with this paper. It's just so dang thin. So just know that, yeah, you're going to get a little extra texture, and that's okay. Wow, try to say extra texture 10 times fast. Oof. Anyway, I'm going to cover the whole cardboard with this paper. And I'm just putting it wherever it fits, tearing it into squares and rectangles, and gluing them down on top of one another. And yes, some of them are hanging off the edge. We're going to trim those, and we're almost done here. So get this last piece, and I'm putting them in upside down, sideways, whatever. The important thing is not necessarily the text being readable. It's just going to be an interesting background. So I'm going to try to cut off the edges here with scissors, but it didn't really go as smoothly as I wanted. Again, this paper is not very cooperative. It's okay. We're working with what we have. So I think now we're going to pull out this old arithmetic book. I found this at an estate sale, and I'm just pulling out a page here. It's got some formulas on it, and the reason I pulled this out is because this font and this paper are different than my first layer. So we're going to put some of these math formulas and word problems down on top of, just in a random pattern. There's no like rhyme or reason. It's literally just, I think this looks good here. Let's put it down. Because all of this is going to be covered up with ink in a few moments here. So yeah, same technique. We're going to put a little bit of gel medium down. We'll put our piece of paper down, and then we're going to put a little bit of gel medium down on top of it. Yeah, there we go. So now we have a cluster of different paper with different font. And what that's going to do is give more visual interest. We'll make sure everything's nice and dry. Dry everything between every layer here. So now I've pulled out the X-Acto knife and I'm trying to get those last little bits that are hanging off. Unfortunately, some of the paper just didn't want to cut and it got caught and it kind of dragged instead. And I said, you know what? I'm going to embrace this imperfection. So the edges of this piece are very rough and I don't care. It looks cool. More texture. We've got our friend gesso. So gesso is going to go kind of here and there. What I'm doing is I'm using my finger to spread the gesso around just very lightly and gently, to kind of blend these two types of paper together and to cover up a little bit of the ink so that it's not so straightforward. Oh, those were book pages. It's more like peekaboo kind of style. Yeah. And we're going to want to dry that too. Okay. Now that we have everything nice and dry, we can start pulling out things to add some color. And the first thing I pull out are some Lindy's Gang Magicals. These are great. I love playing with these. You just put a little tiny bit down and then spritz it with water and just let it go. Um, it's almost like a game. Can you keep the water on the page? I love it. Now I'm gonna add some green. Oh, blue. Sorry, blue, not green. Uh, and they're blending together. So I'm getting some purple here and there, and it's starting to look really interesting. Um, and now I'm gonna add some yellow ink. Now this is an ink spray, so it's pretty intense, and I'm gonna add a little water just to make it flow even more. And now you can see orange and green come into play. So I started out with my primary tones, red, blue, and yellow. And now I'm mixing them in together to get my secondary tones, purple, orange, and green. And it is looking like a big mess right now. But I promise it comes together. It's okay. And now I've added a little more of my original colors because now I can see, hey, I need some more red here, or I need some more blue here. And I'm going to go in and add those colors. And as you can see, I'm just doing a little bit. I'm adding a little water, moving it around, adding a little more water. I use my finger there to kind of move the ink around. This substrate is very wet at the moment, and so I'm just using that to my advantage. I pulled out a Tim Holtz Distress Spritz in a, let's see, salvage patina, which is kind of a copper oxide, that green color, because it has mica flakes in it, and I wanted to add a little shimmer. So far my colors are all flat colors. They don't have, shiny parts. But yeah, just to add a little bit of shine. Okay, so now it's dry, and you can see the gesso has kind of created these very creamy looking colors, whereas anything that only had the text is still on the kind of the bright side. Now I'm going to go in with some acrylic inks. This is a pearlescent blue, and I'm going to use a brush now. And what I'm doing is taking those little dots of ink that I added, and I'm just spreading them around the page. Very organically, I've got my hand further back on the handle of the brush so that my movements are not too precise, not too precious. We're just kind of seeing where things go. I'm kind of letting this ink tell me where it wants to go. All right, so now we're going to go in with some yellow. We're going to brighten up some spots with yellow. And again, that blue is still wet. So any yellow and blue that come together, we're going to get a nice green. I really love mixing colors together. So for me, this is just so much fun. And we're going to add a few more dots. I love those droppers. They let you be pretty precise with where you put the color initially, and then you can spread it out from there. All right, so we've got a lot of yellow added. Now I'm going to go in with, this is a fuchsia color, really bright, beautiful color, adding a little bit of water just to get things going. And then I'm going to use my brush to move it around. It's mixing with the blue, so we can see some beautiful purple happening. And just kind of going in, just gently adding little bits of color here and there. Gonna come in with some orange. Now, I know this is my secondary color, but I was like, I want some actual orange here. So let's go put the orange down because I wanted it to specifically be orange, and I didn't want to have to worry about mixing the right amount of yellow and red. So we're gonna add orange specifically, get that going, adding some nice warm tones to this page. This is a very rainbowy kind of page. But yeah, again, just having fun. Gonna make sure everything is nice and dry. And here I am double checking with a paper towel just to make sure. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this. I found a Tim Holtz paper doll that I really liked. These three kiddos, very cute. All wearing different plaids. But they're tied together because in a black and white photo, if you've got similar patterns, I think it works. And I love the way they contrast with this super colorful background, and they're in black and white. So now I'm additioning a couple spots here, and I think I'm going to go with my original location, which I really like. We're gonna glue them down with some art glitter glue. Just a nice light layer of that. And we'll put them right there. Make sure they're adhered fully. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to give them something to stand on so they're not just floating in space. Use your Stabilo all pencil and a smidge of water to activate it. And now they're standing on the ground, which is great. We don't want our kiddos to fly away. All right. And now I'm going to do a little mark making here. I pulled out my Posca Paint pen in black. Just going to make some X's. I thought about stenciling or stamping, and I was like, I haven't just made some good old marks in a while. So I'm going to use our Posca Paint pen here to do that. And just adding those here and there. All right, so now I'm trying to find a sentiment to put on this piece, and I pulled out my snippet set number 1, thinking, oh yeah, this would be perfect. But I didn't see anything that I liked. And I pulled out the Tim Holtz sentiments too. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something in one of these. And I just didn't find anything. So I went back to the math textbook and I just started looking at all the word problems. And I was like, okay, surely there's got to be a weird word problem featuring little girls. Well, there were several. And I finally found one about getting ice cream together for a picnic. So I pulled that out. A lot of these word problems were really sexist. I mean, they had boys doing boy things and girls doing girl things. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Boys can get ice cream together for a picnic? What? Oh, anyway, long story short, I found the one I liked and I just went with it. So here we go. Oh my goodness. I also went through the book to see if I could find anything else I wanted to use and came up with some cute little names for the kids. So we're going to put that down there too. Anywho, yeah, old textbooks are great. You can usually get some interesting images. Math formulas are always interesting for background papers. The word problems can be cut out to make weird or oddball sentiments. Whatever you want to do. So now I'm going to cut this paragraph into smaller strips because I'm going to paste them down in a group instead of one big chunk of paragraph. To me, that just looks more interesting. Um, and then put them up here on the page to kind of audition where they're going to go. And once I'm happy with that, we're going to bring in some ink. This is, oh gosh, what is this? This is Vintage Photo by Tim Holtz. Just to kind of grunge them up just a little bit and make them look a little old. Even though this is an old textbook, it was in relatively decent shape. But I wanted the text to be a little aged looking. All right, just put that on there using our Oohoo glue stick, nice and easy. Make sure everything is adhered fully. And apparently there was one little piece that wasn't, so I'm just going to use a smidge of glue there. Yeah, make sure it's all down there nicely. So I wanted to add some outlining, and the Posca pen was too big, so I got out my sign pen and used that. It was really nice, just the right size. All right, so this is our piece. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. You'll get notifications if you hit the bell. Thanks for watching. I will see you all next time.